He has been the GOP frontrunner for months now. Even Donald Trump's controversial comments don't seem to hurt his poll numbers too much. And now at least one political scientist says, he thinks the real estate mogul with no political experience could actually be capable of winning. Joining us now to talk about it, Jessica Tarlov, Democratic pollster and strategist, senior political strategist with Show and Consulting. Kevin McCullough joins us, nationally syndicated radio host of The Kevin McCullough Show. You got to listen to it. It's really good.
Thank you.
So let me start with you. Look, conventional wisdom is that, polls are misleading because people don't really get serious until after the holidays. Then they start paying attention, and they're less attracted to the kind of bellicose, inflated statements that people like Donald Trump make. What do you think of that?
I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I think in the cycle in 2012, we were talking about 999 and Herman Cainifying everything at this time, the last go-around. I think what you're going to find is that as we get closer, people will start taking a more critical look. But I do think Donald has a path to the nomination. If he sneaks a win in Iowa, I think New Hampshire is his to have. But if he loses in Iowa, it's going to be a bloodbath in South Carolina, and I think that the winner of that will be the nominee, as it's always been. And I think more of it is dependent upon current events and what happens in the world than it has anything to do with Donald Trump himself.
Yeah.
If Iraq, if Syria, if the world stays on fire, and the administration that's in power now looks weak, I think people are going to say, I don't care what he says, I think he's going to take care of us.
Donald Trump has been spewing canards over the...
Such a polite way of saying it.
Right? That essentially means lies, but I was trying to be nice. And just in the past week, I mean, one after another, he said, I saw thousands and thousands of people in New Jersey cheering the 9/11 attacks when the towers fell. Officials in the state say that's not true. There's no proof of that. PolitiFact gave it a pants on fire rating. He tweeted that 82% of whites are killed by blacks. Now, I looked it up. The FBI says it's 14%. That's a big difference between 82%. At a Texas rally, he said Obama plans to bring in 250,000 Syrian refugees. Now it's 10,000. And the Washington Post, in summarizing all of these things he's saying, said, quote, Trump has lied so many times about so many things during the past week, it's difficult to keep track of all of them. Your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, the Washington Post is right on. I mean, these are obvious, clear lies. This is not just, muddling through a policy plan where he says, yeah, of course we're going to build a wall and we're going to only let the good ones in.
But is he ever going to be held accountable for this stuff?
I don't think so, but I think it has more to do with his outsiderness than actually with Trump. We know that over 60% of Americans want an outsider to take the Oval Office. And right now, Trump is the only credible one that the GOP, I mean, credible, I use that word loosely, that the GOP is putting up. Now, the Ben Carson has fallen since he clearly has no idea about foreign policy at all. And Carly Fiorina fails to get any traction.
Right. But you know who's getting traction is Ted Cruz. Let's put up the Iowa poll numbers. Quinnipiac just came out. Look at this. Ted Cruz has doubled his support from just a month ago, and he's just now shy of Trump. Cruz has support among Tea Party 42%, evangelicals 27%, conservatives 55%, women 26%. What do you make of Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz is on a hot streak right now, and unlike Trump, you do get a guy who's not just competent, but won 9 cases before the Supreme Court. He's got an incredible ability to make an argument to the American people, to his fellow congressional members. This is a guy that's got the entire package. And in Iowa, where the evangelical grassroots conservative vote is always underrepresented in the polls, and I think we would agree with that, it's his to lose at this point. Trump, if he wins in New Hampshire, that sets up the bloodbath in South Carolina. I think Cruz does very well there. Cruz is in the perfect position for someone that's got the appeal to the broad reach of the Republican Party.
Trump has negatives of 55%.
Yeah.
That's a majority.
He's approaching Hillary territory.
They think he's, well, you just took the words right out of my mouth. 55% think Donald Trump is dishonest and untrustworthy. The only person who has a bigger number than that, is Hillary Clinton.
My gal, yeah.
Your gal.
She is my
You're
gal.
standing behind the dishonest, untrustworthy gal.
That's not who she is. No, that's the perception that people have of her. Hillary Clinton is a fan.
Just perception.
It is just perception.
Seriously?
Hillary Clinton. I would not lie to you on Thanksgiving about something like this. Yeah.
But you might wipe your hard drive with a cloth. I'm just saying.
Come on, a bad joke does not make her unfit to be president.
No, but what difference, Senator, then does it make is something that's going to be in people's minds when they think of national.
People
I don't think that, and when you think about it, and I would just like to point out that you talked about this idea earlier about Donald Trump maybe making people feel like he's going to keep them safe. And in the ABC Washington Post poll, Hillary Clinton beat every single GOP candidate on the terrorism question. And I think that's incredibly meaningful.
On the terrorism question, but almost,
best to handle terrorism.
Every GOP potential candidate, the top tier, beat her in an overall matchup.
Right, but when we're talking about this issue, national security is skyrocketing to the top of people's agendas. And now we've seen a change. Yes, and it may very well, unfortunately, remain that way for the next year.
Between now and November, it may change because people normally vote their pocketbooks.
Right.
It depends.
I understand
it depends.
that,
if it's a foreign policy cycle, and that depends largely, like I said about Trump, on the events outside of his control.
Right.
If you have Syrian refugees that come here and launch an attack of any sort that has any kind of impact, the Republicans will sweep to power.
Okay, I really don't agree with that. I mean,
but somebody tell Trump it's not 250,000. Okay?
A lot of people have told him he doesn't want to hear it.
I don't know.
And tell him to stop making fun of reporters as well with chronic illnesses. That, I think, to me, was the most offensive thing that he did this week.
And that one's really going to hurt him. Jessica, Kevin, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much.